talk about gay pride, like this is
so I don't have the same take as the rest of the panel when it comes to the idea of legislating morality. I think that there are ideas which are subversive and that we can get rid of, and that that's absolutely fine to do. I don't think that we need to have unfettered access to pornography. I don't think that we need to have unfettered access to children being introduced to this type of sexuality so young. I don't think that that's necessary at all. I don't think it's an impingement on free speech at all.
Andrew Wilson was on Piers Morgan Uncensored and did what he does best. He completely dominated the debate. He went up against a panel with very progressive views and, in my opinion, presented his arguments so effectively that it left everyone, including Piers Morgan, pretty stunned. This clip is a masterclass in debate. Let's get into it and see Andrew Wilson take on the panel live on Piers Morgan Uncensored.
But for an adolescent, like these young kids, I'm seeing kids at dinners when we're at restaurant surfing TikTok while their parents are not even paying attention to what they're doing. Like that right there is a massive problem. And if we don't, as a society, get a hold of that, then this will never end. There'll be more series like Adolescence that hit even harder because we're witnessing it in our own lives.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew, you seem to be in agreement with some of that.
Yeah, it's poison. There's no doubt. It re-scrambles children's brains, and it's very difficult to monitor. Even if you have parental controls, they can find ways around it. At school, they have peers who will assist them in getting around it. You have to monitor it really well. Smartphone technology for my own kids, it was kind of new. I wish that I, in retrospect, had done more guarding against that myself. You don't know the dangers of that technology until children get a hold of it, and then you're left scrambling going, oh man, I wish I had known that this was going on or that was going on, but you have no idea. Now, though, we have a little bit of retrospect, and we know that it's an appropriate thing to do to guide against this type of technology because, yeah, he's absolutely right. It does create all sorts of problems for kids. I'm not sure that gets to the heart of the masculinity and feminine issue, but I totally agree with him that we should be safeguarding our children against this technology. It does seem to be very bad for them.
And James, there is pretty well unfettered pornography on the internet available to young men and women, obviously, but men are watching a lot of often quite violent, degrading sexual scenes in these porn clips they're seeing online. None of that can help in the way the young male mind goes about trying to forge a real relationship with an actual woman.
Well, I think it's important not to say young male mind. It's any person's mind, right? Like, I don't think we should victimize men. I can't believe Andrew's agreeing with me. But yeah, it's awful. I mean, I genuinely don't think people should have phones until they're 16. They certainly shouldn't have social
Well, Australia's done that, and I'm not against it. The smartphone ban till 16.
I mean, it's terrifying.
Why not?
You can't go on air, on TV, and say whatever you want. Like, I know you're pretending that you're uncensored, but you couldn't sit here and say literally whatever you want.
Yes, I can.
Well, not really, Piers, because if you said something that incited hatred or racism or a terror attack,
I wouldn't want to say
you would be arrested.
I wouldn't
but online,
why would I want to incite a terror attack?
I'm not saying that you want to. I'm just trying to make a point. Online,
you're saying I can't say what I want.
Online,
I do not want to incite a terror attack.
No, but if you did,
I'm allowed. Just to be, you're raising an interesting point about censorship.
Yeah,
we're uncensored because I would not want. I don't say anything I don't want to say.
Right.
So when you say I'm censoring, I'm actually self-censoring. I'm not. I'm not going to call for a terror attack.
I'm not saying that you would ever do that, of course, but I'm saying that if you did, there would be accountability for that because you are broadcasting to a lot of people.
Right.
But a lot of people online do not have that gate stopping them from saying horrendous things, and so therefore it can blow up online, excuse the horrible pun, and that shouldn't be allowed. There should be a system in place that stops people broadcasting things that aren't meant to be broadcast to millions of people.
One of the problems, Tommy, Toby Young, who's a British journalist, director of Free Speech Union, very, very big in promoting and defending free speech, says Adolescence, the new teen drama, is pro-censorship propaganda, partly paid for by the state. It is now being seized upon by Labour left-wing MPs as evidence we need more online censorship. And that is, of course, you talk about a swinging pendulum. What you don't want to come out of all this is an overreaction and an over-censorship, because that in itself becomes a problem.
Yeah, 100%. And I agree with Sean on this point, too. I think parenting has more to do with this than any of us really, can even understand. I mean, many, I'm sure, in this panel can. But parenting is, to me, the end-all be-all of all of this. I mean, you can watch horrible things online, you can listen to people say horrible things, but if you've got a good foundation with good parents at home, hopefully two, that provides you with a lot of guidance and support to navigate these things. And it doesn't really, scramble your mind in the way that those that are not blessed with a two-parent household may be impacted by it. I don't believe that censorship is ever the answer. I believe that more speech is the answer to speech that you don't like. And as much as I don't like certain people online and what they say, whether they're the Tate brothers or whoever else, I believe that they should have the right and the ability to say it. And then people like us should have the right and ability to respond to it. I think that's the healthiest way to come to a great consensus, or at least a public square where we can all debate ideas with dialogue and conversation. But I don't think that censorship is ever the answer. And I think that, our leaders in America have done a great job of emphasizing that, especially to the European countries who believe censorship is the way to cleanse or the way to legislate morality. I just don't think that's the way to do it.
I'm not sure that outright censorship is the right answer to this problem. I have a feeling most of you watching probably agree that this type of content can be really harmful to society. That seems pretty clear. But if we just ban it completely, history shows us it doesn't disappear. It often just gets pushed underground into unregulated spaces, which could potentially make things even worse and put more vulnerable people at risk. Instead of banning it, I think what we need is a major cultural shift, similar to what happened with smoking. Cigarettes weren't banned, but over time, social attitudes changed through education and awareness, making it less socially acceptable. Right now, the trend seems to be moving toward normalizing and even celebrating this industry. I believe we need more social accountability, where choosing to consume or create this content isn't met with celebration, but with serious questions about its broader impact. The current numbers show it's a massive industry, which tells me we aren't having enough of those honest conversations as a society. I'm curious what you all think. What's the right way to address this? Let me know your solutions in the comments.
Reaction, certainly in the UK, for a long time now, many years, has been to censor and to ban and prohibit and so on. And I think people are beginning to wake up to the downside of that, is that once you give away, once you chip away at things like freedom of speech, freedom of expression, you're heading down a pretty slippery road, which can be dictated by your government, and then that's not a place.
It's interesting though, isn't it? I mean, I just want to make a side point, and I don't need to get into it, but like, your government are banning books, so they are literally talking about free speech whilst also banning free speech in it that they don't agree with. So what you're saying is nice, and I agree with you in principle,
from
but that's not
library,
literally.
Same as banning books.
You talked about freedom of speech, right? And everyone coming together and having a discussion about it.
Oh my God.
But that's not what's happening.
Yeah, but we're
putting
talking
graphic
about in the
gay
home,
porn
not in
into
school.
children's libraries is a little different.
I mean, no one should be putting porn into a children's library. I think we all agree on that.
Then why are you complaining
What's the
that that's
issue?
being
Because that's not
banned?
what I'm discussing. I'm discussing books that talk about diversity, equality, that talk about Black Lives Matter, that talk about gay pride. Like, this is...
I don't have the same take as the rest of the panel when it comes to the idea of legislating morality. I think that there are ideas which are subversive and that we can get rid of, and that's absolutely fine to do. I don't think that we need to have unfettered access to pornography. I don't think that we need to have unfettered access to children being introduced to this type of sexuality so young. I don't think that that's necessary at all. I don't think it's an impingement on free speech at all. And not only that, there's going to necessarily be limits on every single freedom that we have. By necessity, that's the way it has to be, unfortunately. And the reason it has to be that way is because otherwise you're going to have nothing but subversives who go in and subvert your entire culture, which is exactly what happened in the UK, and it's exactly what's been happening in the United States. So we have to have some way to fight back against that.
I have to say, Andrew Wilson completely dominated that exchange. It's hard to disagree with a single point he made. The argument that keeping certain explicit material out of school libraries is equivalent to banning books feels completely disingenuous. It seems like it might have been said just to create controversy for the show, because it's a ridiculous comparison. Nobody is advocating for a government ban on these books for adults. The discussion is about what's age-appropriate for a school setting. That was one of the most nonsensical statements I've heard in a long time. Andrew Wilson did an excellent job shutting it down with facts and logic. What did you guys think about that moment? Let me know your take in the comments.